48 teams, one tournament. And somehow, FIFA thinks this is a good idea. The World Cup is already the biggest sporting event on Earth. Billions of people watch it. But FIFA looked at the tournament and decided it wasn't big enough. So for 2026, they're expanding it from 32 teams to 48. That sounds simple until you realize one problem. How do you fit 48 teams into a tournament that was designed for 32? The answer is a completely new format. And whether it's genius or chaos depends on who you ask. Let's break it down. For nearly 3 decades, the World Cup followed the same structure. 32 teams, 8 groups of 4. The top 2 teams from each group advanced. Then came the knockout rounds. Simple, everyone understood it. But starting in 2026, hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, FIFA is changing everything. Instead of 32 teams, there will be 48. To make that work, FIFA created 12 groups with 4 teams in each group. Every team still plays 3 group stage matches just like before. But here's where things get interesting. The top 2 teams from each group automatically qualify for the knockout stage. 12 groups means 24 teams advance, but FIFA wanted a proper knockout bracket, so they added something extra. The 8 best third-place teams also qualify. That means 32 teams reach the knockout stage, and that's where a brand new round of 32 comes in. Historically, the World Cup went straight from the group stage to the round of 16. Not anymore. Now teams must survive an extra knockout round before reaching the last 16. One defeat and you're out. No second chances. On paper, this sounds exciting. More teams, more matches, more opportunities for surprises. But it also creates some interesting problems. The biggest one is the third-place qualification system. 8 of the 12 third-place teams advance, only 4 go home. That means teams won't just be competing against opponents in their own group. They'll also be comparing their records against third-place teams from other groups. A draw that looks useless in one group could suddenly become valuable depending on results elsewhere. It adds drama. But it can also create confusion. That's why some fans love the format, while others aren't convinced. Now let's look at why FIFA expanded the tournament in the first place. The official reason is simple. Football has become more global. More countries are competitive than ever before. And many regions felt they deserved more qualification spots. As a result, as FIFA increased representation across the world. More African nations, more Asian nations, more teams from North and Central America, and more countries getting a chance to experience the World Cup for the first time. For smaller football nations, that's huge. Countries that once had almost no chance of qualifying now have a realistic path. More representation means more stories, more passion, and potentially more underdog moments. Of course, critics argue there's another reason. Money. More teams mean more matches. More matches mean more tickets, more sponsors, more television coverage, and more revenue. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Both things can be true at the same time. The other challenge is travel. This isn't being hosted by one country, it's being hosted by 3. The tournament will use 16 stadiums across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. That's an enormous area. Teams and fans could end up traveling thousands of miles during the competition. For supporters, following their national team might involve multiple flights across North America. It's going to be one of the biggest logistical operations in sports history. So, does this new format actually work? The honest answer is that nobody knows yet. A 48-team World Cup has never happened before. There are legitimate questions. Will the group stage remain meaningful? Will the third-place system create strange incentives? Will adding another knockout round improve the tournament or dilute it? Nobody can answer those questions until the games begin. But history gives FIFA some confidence. When the World Cup expanded from 16 teams to 24, critics complained. When it expanded from 24 to 32, critics complained again. Yet both formats eventually became normal. Maybe the same thing happens here. Maybe in 10 years, a 48-team World Cup will feel completely natural. Or maybe fans will look back and say, bigger isn't always better. That's what makes 2026 so fascinating. This isn't just another World Cup. It's the biggest structural change in the tournament's history. 12 groups, 48 teams, a round of 32, and more countries than ever chasing football's biggest prize. Whether it's brilliant or bloated, we're about to find out. And that's a story worth watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more simple explanations of football's biggest tournaments, formats, and rules.